Number 13. Generally pays $25 a month for membership. Each group class costs an additional $8. Let C be the number of group exercise classes that Generally can take. Okay, she's got a total of $80. Which inequality, so that's less than or greater than, less than equal to, greater than or equal to, shows the maximum number of group exercise she can take this month. So she can take no more than $80 worth. She's got to keep it under $80. So that is less than or equal to 80. So we are going to kill this one and this one. And it's $25 flat plus $8 for every class. So we're going to go C. 14. So you got a graph of a function. Use the add arrow to graph x equals negative x. That is linear. Linear is y equals mx plus b. The m equals a minus 1. The b equals 0. So you're going to start at 0. Go over 1, down 1, over 1, down 1, over 1, down 1, over 1, down 1, up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1. Line through all those dots. Okay, the solutions are where these two intersect. So it's going to intersect once right there. To get there, I go right 2, down 2. So what is this? 2, down 2. So that's a positive 2. Right 2, down 2, I guess. And then to get to this one, I go left 2, up 2. So left 2, up 2. Or they don't got a plus. Huh. So I don't know about, I guess you leave it blank when it's plus. 15. Which one is the same as x squared plus 64? So it looks like a perfect square, but it's really not. It's going to be C, because if you start timesing C out, x times x is x squared. X times a minus 8i is a minus 8ix. And 8i times x is a plus 8ix. And 8i times a minus 8i is a minus 64i squared, which is a minus 1. These undo, so it's x squared plus a minus 64 times a minus 1 is a positive 64. There is a big difference. If this was x squared minus 64, then it would just simply be x plus 8 times x minus 8. So the only way you can have two things times and give you a plus is if you've got an imaginary times an imaginary. You gotta remember, an imaginary times imaginary is going to be a negative 1. So then you got negative 1 times another negative, because they got a positive and a negative. And that's how they get these middles to cancel out, so if you got a positive and a negative. 16. Ugh. Look at this to identify its elements. Oh, this might not be too bad. Okay. Here we go. Coefficient. So I guess we gotta like draw a line and mix and match and stuff. So the coefficient I can choose, it's either a 5 or a 3. Let's look. Okay, it's not the 5. 5 is going to be constant. So constant goes to 5. 3 goes to coefficient. Factor and term. Term, that is a term. 3x squared, it's one piece all by itself. So the factor, that's a factor because they're separated by a times. And when you have something separated by times, they're called factors. So that is a factor. That was not too bad. 17. Okay, factor this guy. This is pretty fun. X to the 8th minus y to the 8th. That is kind of a perfect square. So if we factor that down, it's going to be x4 minus y4 times x4 plus y4. Because remember, when you distribute, you add your exponents. So x4 times x4 is x4 plus 4, and that's x to the 8th. And since I got a minus and a plus, my middles will cancel out, and that will give me a minus y4 times a plus y4 is a minus y4 plus 4. So that works, but you are not done, because this can factor. That is a perfect square. You can factor this to x squared minus y squared, x squared plus y squared. Then we got our x4 plus y4. And this will go down to x minus y, x plus y, and these pluses cannot be factored. So you got x squared plus y squared, x to the 4th plus y to the 4th, and that matches up with C. 18. How many solutions does this equation have? And it will have as many solutions as the degree. Since it is degree 4, it will have 4 solutions. What are the solutions? Okay, that guy looks easy, that looks easy. These kind of look nasty. So let's try and factor it first. Alright, let's move this over here. I don't think we're going to be able to factor it. Plus 1, plus 1. So you've got x squared minus 5x plus 5 equals 0. Okay, now here's the question. What times this and gives you 5, but adds and gives you the middle? The only thing that times this gives you 5 is a 1 and a 5, and it's positive, so they're either both positive, which gives you 6, or they're both negative, which gives you negative 6. So you cannot factor it. If you cannot factor it, the quadratic formula is the way to go. So you've got to get it in standard form, well, which we do. Write it again. So we got x squared minus 5x plus 5 equals 0. So that means this. A is how many squares you got. 1. B is how many linear pieces you got. You got a minus 5. C is how many ones you've got. How many constants. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root. Put it in parentheses. B squared minus, gosh, minus 4. A, C, all over 2a. That will clean up to 5 plus or minus the square root of 25 minus 20 divided by 2, which cleans up to 5 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2, and that matches up with B. Super fun. 20. Okay, so factor this one. So if it's multiple choice, you could take a guess, and if you wanted to factor it, probably the first thing to do would factor out a 2. So it might look like B or a C, or a B or D. So if you factored a 2 out, it's going to be 2 x squared plus 12x plus 32. And now it's not bad. What times is and gives you 32, adds and gives you 12, times is to give 32, adds to give 12. We're going to go 8 and 4. So we're going to go B. A function, how many terms are there? There are 1, 2, 3. Terms are separated by pluses. So if you got like 4 minus x, it is really 4 plus a minus x, because the negative goes with the term. So they're separated by a plus. So there are 3. Trinomial. It is quadratic trinomial. 22. What are the zeros? They're easy solutions. They're integer solutions, so that means you can factor it. So let's factor this. What times this and gives you a -5, adds and gives you 4, and it is equals y. Zeros, let's make that a 0. It's got times given -5, so it is going to be a +5 and a -1 because it's got to add and give 4. So your zeros are a -5 and a +1. So we're going to go C. 23. In an experiment, the population of bacteria culture doubles every hour. There are 30 bacteria to start. So 30, 1 hour, double. 2 hours, double that. 3 hours, double that. 4 hours, double that. 5 hours. So what's happening is repeated multiplication. And repeated multiplication is the same thing as 2 to the 5 if it was 5 hours. If you want to double it for 7 hours, you do 2 to the 7. So we're going to double it for 2 to the x. And x can be any hour we want. But then you got to times it by that initial 30. So we're going to go C. 24. What point represents an intersection of the parabola x squared minus 2x plus 3 and the line x plus 1? Okay, now check it out. This is kind of a cool trick. This is like a table. X's and Y's. Now they gotta be true to both equations. If you've got a 1 and a 2, let's test. Does 1 really give you 2? Let's put 1 here and let's put 1 here and see if it really gives 2. Does 2 equal 2 equal 1 squared minus 2 times 1 plus 3. 2 equals 1 squared is 1 minus 2 plus 3. Yeah, I think so. 2 equals 1 and 3 is 4. 4 minus 2, so 2 equals 2. So it checks for that guy. It's got to also check for this guy. So let's test 1. Does 1 in for x give you 2 for y? And 1 plus 1 is 2. It holds, this dot exists in both the circle, or no, this is a parabola, and the line. So we got lucky. It's A. It would have sucked if it was D, because we go through A, B, C, D to get to it, but you can just graph it on your calculator and see where the intersection point is on your calculator. That might be faster and easier. 25. How do you factor this? We just did one. It's C. X is x squared. X times a minus 3i is a minus 3ix. 3i times x is a plus 3ix, and that is 0. And 3 times a minus 3 is a minus 9, and I times I is a minus 1, and a minus 1 times a minus 9 is a plus 9. So you got x squared plus 9. 26. What is one solution, or 1, 0? Okay. Do there exist numbers that times to give 10 and add to give 6? I don't think so. 10, you don't have very many options. You can do a 1 and a 10, or you can do a 2 and a 5. And neither of those will give 6 when you add, so that sucks. You got to do quadratic formula. And it's in standard form, so A is easy to identify. A is 1, B is 6, C is 10. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So we can go negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 36 minus 40 divided by 2. And that is going to go to negative 6 plus or minus the square root. 36 subtract 40 is a negative 4 divided by 2. Square root of a negative, that's imaginary. Negative 6 plus or minus imaginary square root of 4 divided by 2. Square root of 4 is nice. So we're going to go negative 6 plus or minus 2i divided by 2. Divide both these guys by 2. So it's going to be a negative 3 plus or minus I. And they want one solution, so one solution is negative 3 plus I. The other solution is negative 3 minus I, so one of them, doesn't matter which one. So not too bad. What are the roots? What are the roots? X squared minus 4x plus 5. Okay, can you times and get 5? Add and get a minus 4. And probably 5 and a 1. And if the 5 is negative and the 1 is positive, that works, huh? So x minus 5. Oh, no. It's got to times and give a plus 5. And the only way you can times and get a plus is if they are both minus. Or they both got to be plus. And that is impossible in the real numbers. So it's not A and not B. So it's got to be some kind of complex number, some imaginary. Alright, so here we go. A is 1. B is a minus 4. C is 5. X equals negative B. Plus or minus square root. B squared. Negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. Minus 4 times A times C. All over 2A. So 4 plus or minus 16 minus 20. 16 minus 20 is another minus 4, so not bad. And we just did square root of a minus 4, and that was 4 plus or minus 2 imaginaries divided by 2. Okay, not bad. 2 plus or minus I. So we're going to go C. 2 plus I, 2 minus I. 28. Complete the square. Okay, this is a good one. That's a square, and that's a square, but it's got to add to give 8, and that's not going to give you 8. 5 plus 5 is not going to be 8. So x squared plus 8x. What we really want is it to be 4 plus 4. And so this has got to be 4 times 4. So we really wanted a 16. But they did not give 16, they gave us 25. Move the 25 over here. Minus 25, minus 25. Factor this. This will factor to x plus 4 times x plus 4 equals a minus 25. Now, if you add a 16 in place of the 25, you got to do it to both sides. Don't forget to add 16. You can't just add 16 to the left and not add it to the right. So I'm going to plus 16 over here. And the left will change to x plus 4 squared. The right, what's the difference between 25 and 16? 9? Negative 9. So we're going to go A. 29. Single cell organism divides every day. No. Divides into 2. Cuts in half once per day. If you have one such organism at the start of day 1, how many are you going to have at the end of day 25 or day 50, whatever day you want, day X? Okay, so it's the exact same thing. So you got 1. Then the first day, it doubles. Second day, doubles. Second day, they each double. Double. So it is this guy. You want to double it for 25 days? You better have 25 times 2's there. 30. Oh, which one is equivalent to this? Are they just completing the square here? I think so. So move the 4 over. X squared minus 2x plus blank equals a minus 4. We want to add a 1. So we got to add a 1 here. So that is x minus 1 squared. And over here, minus 4 plus 1 is a minus 3. So we're going to go B. 31. Darnell has a formula. Oh, there's 3 variables, x, y, z. He then rearranged the formula to solve for z. So, this is fun. 500 divide x plus z. Now the problem is z is on the bottom. So you gotta ditch the z. Let's ditch them both. Ditch the x and the z. So if you times this by x plus z, and you times this guy by x plus z, divide x plus z times x plus z. That undoes. So I've got x plus z times y equals 500, and I want z by itself, so let's ditch the y. Divide y, divide y. Now you just have x plus z equals 500 divide y, so minus x minus x, so you should have 500 over y plus a negative x. 32. Find the zeros. Okay, we've done enough of them. Do the quadratic formula. A, B, C, x equals negative b. Do it on your own. 33. Okay, how many points of intersection are there when y equals x plus 4? So x plus 4, b is 4, and you go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1. So it's a line that looks something like that. And then, so you graph them on your calculator and you can tell real quick. X squared plus y squared equals 8. Now 8, the radius of that is tricky. The radius equals square root of 8. So the h and k are 0, 0. And then square root of 8. What is the square root of 8? Square root of 8 is like almost 3, 2.82, blah, 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 blah. So you go up 2, right 2, down 2. So it's going to be a little bit more than 2, blah, 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 blah. So I'm not sure if they touch. They might touch none, or they might be a tangent line and touch once, or that red line might sneak in there and touch twice. So you got to graph it on the calculator to see. Zoom in and look. 34. Rectangular rug is 3 feet longer than it is wide. The area is 54 square feet. So what do we got to do here? Area equals length times width. And here's what we got. The rug is 3 feet longer than it is wide. So if the width was 4, then the length would be 4 plus 3. Oh wait, which one's wider? Yeah, the length is bigger. So the length would be 7, and the width would be 4. So that's just an example. So here it is algebraically. The area is going to be, let's do 3 plus the w times the w. Okay, so now if you distribute the w, you should have 3w plus w squared equals 54. Okay, now here we go. I'm going to take my 54 over here. So I'm going to minus my 54, minus my 54, and here's your mess. Put it in order. You got w squared plus 3w minus 54 equals 0. So w squared plus 3w minus 54 equals 0. And the last one, 35. What kind of roots does this quadratic equation have? does it have? Graph it. Graph it on the calculator. If it touches the x-axis once, it will have one real root. If it touches the x-axis twice, it will have two real roots. If it never touches the x-axis, it will have two imaginaries. It's got to have 2 because the exponent is 2. So this guy, it's a double root. It's like this, x minus 4 times x minus 4. It's a perfect square. So the root would be x equals 4 for this guy and 4 for this guy. So there's two roots, but it's a double root. So you got to look at the graph, figure out which one it matches. Not too bad. And that's it. You did it. Very good.